The Auditor-General provides assurance to Parliament on the accountability and performance of the Victorian public sector. The Auditor-General conducts financial audits and performance audits and reports on the results of these audits to Parliament. On the 10th of December 2015, the Auditor-General tabled his performance audit report implementing the Gifts, Benefits and Hospitality Framework. The key conclusions coming out of this audit are that agencies largely comply with the current policy framework, which mandates that they document but not achieve its minimum requirements. Their approaches are not sufficient to manage the significant risks to their impartiality and integrity posed by Gifts, Benefits and Hospitality, or GB&H. Oversight arrangements in place at agencies for GB&H are weak. The current framework needs to be revised to focus on effective management of these risks, and agencies need to improve their management of these risks. A gift or benefit is anything of value offered to or provided by a public sector employee, for example, a present for a long-serving employee, an invitation to an event, or gifts provided to or received from a visiting international delegation. Hospitality involves the friendly reception and treatment of guests, for example, providing refreshments during business meetings, team building exercises, or agency-funded celebrations. GB&H activities can be essential for some public sector employees to do their jobs properly. However, there are clear risks that need to be managed. These activities can create conflicts of interest or can be perceived as lavish or inappropriate by the community. Because of the very different operating contexts across the public sector, a one-size-fits-all approach to GB&H is not suitable. The government's Gifts, Benefit and Hospitality Framework, in conjunction with the Premier's circular, sets out the minimum requirements and accountabilities that agencies should document in their policies. In this audit, we went beyond testing compliance with the requirement that policies include the framework's minimum requirements. We assessed agencies' effectiveness in managing the risks involved in providing or receiving GB&H. This audit examined a sample of creative industries agencies, including Creative Victoria, CV, a division of the Department of Economic Development, Jobs, Transport and Resources, DEDJTR, Museum Victoria, MV, the National Gallery of Victoria, NGV, and the Arts Centre Melbourne, ACM. The audit also examined the oversight and guidance provided by the Portfolio Department, being DEDJTR through CV, and agencies with a whole-of-government role, being the Victorian Public Sector Commission, VPSC, which formulates and revises the government's policy framework, and the Department of Premier and Cabinet, DPC, which is the Portfolio Department for VPSC and provides advice to the Premier. We found a number of significant weaknesses in agencies' management of GB&H activities. We found examples of gifts being accepted where there were potential conflicts of interest. For example, ACM, MV and NGV accepted multiple hospitality offers from businesses to whom they had made contractual payments. ACM staff accepted 2 gifts valued at $1,360 each from an exhibitor. Records of GB&H provision did not provide enough detail to adequately describe the business need for the activity or justify the expense in terms of the likely benefits. CV has taken a different approach, including the requirement to attend arts-related events in staff position descriptions. The current guidelines do not have a precise and comprehensive definition of hospitality provision, and agencies have not consistently classified hospitality expenses. Agencies need to improve their GB&H documentation and more rigorously scrutinise, monitor and report on their hospitality expenses. The policy framework needs to clarify what expenses should be included as hospitality expenses. This table provides a snapshot of accepted GB&H at the audited agencies. The number of accepted offers ranges from 37 at MV to 203 at ACM. The total value appears small, but the risks in this area cannot be judged purely on this value. The most significant finding is that between 45 and 54% of accepted offers came from organisations paid between $2.3 and $9.3 million by these agencies. There are clear potential conflicts of interest in accepting GB&H from organisations that are also contracted by these agencies. We found no documented acknowledgement of these potential conflicts or how they had been managed. The monitoring, reporting and oversight of GB&H activities is inadequate. It relies on management sign-off of GB&H activities case by case and the periodic review of accepted GB&H by the Audit Committee. Until recently, none of these agencies analysed and reported on their GB&H activities. As a consequence, management and oversight of these activities is poorly informed. We found no internal audit examinations of this area and insufficient evidence to show how audit committees had adequately scrutinised these activities. Creative Victoria has a clear external scrutiny role but does not exercise it. This needs to change. Agencies do not capture GB&H risks in their risk management frameworks. Agencies do not adequately apply well-understood better practices to manage these risks, consult staff and stakeholders or communicate the risks and expectations about these activities, or train staff in how to deal with the risks. Agencies need to address these weaknesses, and VPSC and DPC need to update the framework to require the effective management of these risks. Integrity agencies across Australia have identified the ineffective management of GB&H as a major misconduct and corruption risk. We made 6 recommendations. The first 2 focus on oversight and the revision of the government framework to manage GB&H risks. DED-JTR accepted that it needs to play a more visible and active oversight role. The VPSC has committed to review the framework in early 2016. 4 recommendations are aimed at improving agencies' practices so they can better manage GB&H risks. All agencies described the actions they would take to address these recommendations. The key messages from the audit are that agencies need to apply greater scrutiny in managing GB&H activity. GB&H monitoring and reporting needs to be informed by adequate analysis to effectively mitigate the associated risks. And agencies need to identify, assess and treat GB&H risks and consult and communicate with stakeholders on their GB&H approach. The overall message is that agencies need to better manage GB&H activities and related risks, supported by a revised risk-based framework. This slide lists other relevant audits. All our reports are available on our website. If you have any questions about this or other reports, or if you have anything else you would like to discuss with us, including ideas for future audit topics, please call us on 03 8601 7000 or contact us via our website.